So welcome to a new video everyone, and this is the Specialized Vado SL 5.0. This is a lightweight aluminium e-commuter e-gravel bike, and this configuration has the battery in the down tube and the motor here at the bottom bracket. Some commuter and e-gravel bikes have the motor in the hub here at the rear. This one has it here. So this is Specialized SL 1.1 custom motor, and it provides 240 watts of peak power and 35 newton meters of torque. So it pretty much gives you 2 times your rider input, or about 180% assist. And in the battery is fully integrated and it provides 320 watts of power. And what does that actually mean? It means that maybe in its most frugal setting you could probably get about 80 miles to the charge. And you can also get a range extender that sits here, and that would give you another 40 miles of range, and that would get you to say 120 miles. Now what does that mean in terms of real life? Well, in real life usage, going up and down different types of terrain and using different types of settings, just on the 320 watt hour battery, I'm getting about anywhere between 50 to 60 miles of range on the bike. And I think with the range extender, you could probably add another 20 miles onto that. So it's around about 70 or 80 miles in real life usage would be probably achievable. And that's pretty good for this type of bike. Probably gives you maybe a little bit more than, say, an e-bike motion type setup. Probably gets you another, say, 20 miles of range more, I think, than what I've found on e-bike motion. So in terms of the fork, this is a sort of lightweight, high-strength premium carbon fork with a boost on it. So it's really strong, really rigid, excellent fork so far I've found. On the wheels, well, these are DT Swiss R500 wheels, and these are paired with Specialized own Pathfinder Sport tyres. These are 700 by 38s, but you've got enough clearance on the bike to put 42s if you wanted more rubber on the road for, say, gravel riding. So obviously this is an e-bike, so let's look at the e-system. So to switch it on, you press the turbo control unit, the TCU. You press it on here and the bike comes to life. There we go. And you've got really 4 levels of assist. So you've got off, you've got eco, you've got sport, and you've got turbo. And you change the settings using this really quite sleek controller here by the grip. Also on this controller you can scroll through the different information on the TCU, riding time, distance, what speed you're going at or you've been at, and quite importantly how much battery life is left, and all of that's just available right there on the display. You can also pair this system up with Specialized Mastermind app that you can download onto smartphones, and that allows you to customize the power settings, and it also gives you lots more information about your ride characteristics. Another cool feature about this control unit is the bottom button here, and if you hold that bottom button for, say, a few seconds, it starts to go into walk mode. It was actually taken off. One of the things that I found quite interesting when riding this bike as well is that the level of assist isn't cutting out until about 28 kilometers an hour. So that's a bit higher than some of the EMTB motors. So this seems to give you, in fact I'm not even sure it's kicking out at 28 kilometers. Just try it now. That's me at 20, yeah, it's kicking out about 28, and it's totally seamless at 28, so there's no drag on the bike when the motor kicks out. You're absolutely on your own pedal power, but you get no pullback in terms of you know, feeling like you're cycling through a treacle or anything. So it's totally seamless when the motor kicks out at about 28 kilometers an hour. But that's quite a lot of assist all the way up, which is pretty useful. And to charge the battery, you just open up this spring-loaded port here and connect it in, and then charge it. It takes about 2.5 hours or so to charge the battery. And this, I think this is actually quite a good system, because it just clicks back in again, and it's watertight. It's really watertight. So this is a good solution. I know it sounds a bit simple, but some of the solutions for the charging port that some of the bikes put on is not the best. This actually is pretty solid from Specialized. And this bike is powered by the SRAM GX Eagle 12-speed drivetrain, and this offers really good gearing performance. And it's also got a set of practice cranks. So this combination gives you a really solid and reliable drivetrain set. So in terms of the brakes, these are Tektro hydraulic brakes, and they're paired up with 160mm rotors, and they do provide really good assured stopping power on this bike. The weight of this bike, it's just under 15 kilos. It's an aluminium bike with a battery and a motor in it, so it's pretty decent in terms of weight. It's not trying to be, you know, a carbon bike. It's not trying to get itself down to 12 or 13 kilos or anything like that. So it's pretty solid, it's pretty sturdy, it's got decent weight for what it is, and the battery and motor really take the weight of the bike out, if you know what I mean. So when you've got that assist, you're not going to really feel this weight on the bike. But it's pretty sturdy aluminium, just under 15 kilo bike, and this is in the medium frame. So another interesting point about the bike, if you can hear me over the wind noise, is that when you're going downhill, because of the slightly extra weight that you're carrying, the bike just simply rails round corners, and it's quite stable on the downhills. So I think that's an extra benefit, believe it or not, is that it does have an extra weight. It does keep the bike planted, and it means that going round corners and going downhill at speed, you know, you're going to feel really sort of more glued to the ground. So another area of this bike that's quite cool is it's got a thing called the Future Shock, and that sits in here. And with the bike you get 4 springs, just about this size. They're just little springs with different colours on them, and the different colours mean the different tensions in the spring, and you can just pop them out, in and out. Now what that does is it offers a degree of shock absorption on the front fork. What it does is it just gives you that little bit of support when you're going over rough terrain on a gravel track or on the roads. You know what the roads are like, especially here in the UK. There's hardly a smooth bit of road, so you get a lot of chatter through the bike, through the fork, up into the handlebars, and it can lead you to have you know, sore hands or arm fatigue. This just takes some of that chatter out, and it makes the ride just that little bit more comfy. So just out on the roads here, and I've tested this on the gravel as well, how does this Future Shock little spring, does it actually provide you with anything? And I can honestly say that, well, I don't know what the roads are like where you are in the UK, but here in Scotland they're a bit problematic. So there's potholes and there's different uneven surfaces, and well, generally if you're riding a rigid frame bike, you know, it can get a bit tiring in terms of the different surface that you're riding over. And this Future Shock really does iron out a little bit of the road chatter. I'm not saying if you went into a deep pothole it's going to save you, but in terms of like just the general uneven surfaces across the road, I can confirm that it really does make a difference. And in terms of cost, well, this bike is retailing just now on sale, I think, so it's about £3,400 with the 320 watt battery and all the sort of electronics with it. That is a pretty decent price for a bike of this class. Right, so we're heading for this little pitch climb. It's not a massive gradient, but I'm going to try some experiments now. So I'm going to put the assist onto 0. So the assist is now off, which is white on the display. So you can see that. And we're going to try and ride up here with no assist whatsoever. Probably need to change the gearing, because this will be no assist. So I'm pedalling just on my own with the bike weight all the way up. So what does this feel like? Well, it's just like riding any normal bike. It's maybe a little bit heavier than obviously an analog bike, because you're not carrying the motor and the battery weight in the frame. But it's absolutely doable to pedal this bike without the assist at all. But as you've got an e-bike and a motor, why on earth would you do that? Let's go back down, keep going with the experiment. Yo! Yo! Testing out the brakes, working well. This is the next level of assist, and this is a sort of bluey purpley colour called Eco. Let's try that out. So you can definitely feel the support coming through. Probably maybe here on the video just a slight noise coming from the bike, but it's pretty quiet. It's just probably cancelling out the weight of the motor and the battery. So a bit like feels like an Eco pedaling a normal bike. Right, we're moving up now to the sport level of assist, which is green on the display, and I'll keep it in the same gear that I went up there on Eco, just to see if I can feel it, if I can feel the difference. And you can feel the difference right away as soon as you put your foot down. So there's massive more assist in the sport, and yeah, this is an assist level you'd probably use quite a bit. Oh, that was so easy in that sport mode. So really good support levels in sport. Now these cows sitting here beside me are probably thinking, what is this idiot doing going up and down this road? They're chilling out here on a Sunday in, well, beautiful Scotland countryside. So we're now moving into the turbo, and you can see it's turbo, and it's a sort of, I don't know what you would call that, an orangey colour. So let's see what turbo feels like. Same gearing as the other two. Let's see what turbo's like. Oh, so you can definitely hear the motor assist a little bit more. You can, there's more of a whine comes off the bike when you're in turbo. Definitely more noise there than some other bikes that I've ridden, like the e-bike motion type technology. But if you can get around that type of noise, it's so easy to pedal up this. It's an absolute joke. So this is going to get you up, this turbo is going to get you up virtually anything. Using between the turbo and the gearing, I suggest you'll get up pretty much any hill that you fancy taking on, so it provides really good power. And because it makes, you might think it's only 35 newton meters of torque, but because of the weight of the bike, because it's under 15 kilos, that 35 newton meters of torque is really boosting you up the hill in turbo. So I hope you found that little experiment useful in terms of maybe my impressions of the different assist levels. So is there any lowlights of this bike? Well, just a few that I found so far. One is the seats, probably maybe not for everyone, it's a wee bit uncomfy. The cable routing is a bit wild. Everything is routed through this side of the bike, nothing's coming through there. So it's a little bit spaghetti junction. I've had to tidy it up with a few cable ties just to sort of tidy it up a little bit. Maybe a little bit more noise come from this Specialized 1.1 motor than you would find in a hub motor. So you just get that little bit more whine. And maybe the overall design of the bike with the sort of more bulbous bottom bracket won't suit everyone. So it's maybe not as sleek as some of the other offerings out there in the marketplace, if that means anything to you. Well, in terms of the highlights for me, well, I've got to say this future shock thing, which I was a bit sceptical about, is absolutely a positive for me. The integrated front and rear lights that just come on means I can just switch on and forget. Really positive. Takes about 2.5 hours to charge the battery up from flat. That is really useful. The walk assist is another highlight for me. Very powerful and works absolutely right out of the box. And overall, this is really a great, solid, reliable, all-round e-bike. And I think it's going to be very efficient for general commuting riding and gravel riding, e-gravel riding, with pretty decent range. And I think that's really important if you're buying a bike like this, that you get the range that you need and confidence in this motor and battery combination. But overall, the main highlight for me is once you switch it on, you get out in the roads and you press through these levels of assist, it'll just put a big smile on your face, especially if you're going uphill in turbo. You just take the strain right out of the ride. Now, if you want to give yourself more, more effort and you're trying to get fitter, you just dial down the assist. You can dial it completely off. You can put it onto the lower settings, and you're going to have to put more of your input in, so you'll get more of a workout. But if you get tired and your legs are getting a bit like jelly, and you've still got like 10 miles from home and a climb and that type of thing, just dial the assist up, and that will help you get home, no problems, and you're not going to like kill yourself out on the roads or out in the gravel trails. So that's my initial impressions of this Specialized Vado SL 5.0. Mostly really positive initial comments from myself. Very little lowlights. I think this would be really solid as an e-commuting bike and an e-gravel bike. And I would say definitely test it and try it out when comparing against other bikes on the market. So well done, Specialized. Really solid package, really solid bike. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, I would really appreciate if you press the like button, and if you press the subscribe button if you want to see more videos in the future. Have a great day and have fun on the trails.